Well, what a crazy game it was against the Dallas Cowboys. On one hand, you're watching and you're like, this team is so good. And we've seen it week after week kind of start to come together, and to see it really be like, oh my gosh, this team's great. Defensively, we're up in people's faces. Like, that's how we want to play. We're aggressive across the board. And then on the other hand, you lose Aiden Hutchinson. So now there's a new name that has come to the surface of a possible trade candidate. And that's the big question as we move forward. Do you replace Aiden Hutchinson via trade, outsider, or do you roll with what you've got? We'll look at both sides in this video. I believe that you roll with what you got, especially for now. But there's a new name that has emerged, and I think it's one that I really kind of like, and it's Trey Hendrickson of the Bengals. Let's get into it, though, and look at who we do have on our team, and just as a reminder, okay? So the trade deadline is, excuse me, after week 9, so pretty deep into the season, so we've got time. So remember, the Lions are out without Marcus Davenport, who we brought in to be really a key player, and he was doing a great job. He got injured. That's the risk with him. He does get injured. Derek Barnes was really figuring out kind of this hybrid defensive end linebacker thing. He gets injured. He's out for the season. So both of these guys are out for the season. John Kaminsky, really not a big loss because he was already kind of, I don't know. All right, remember we have Josh Paschal. He's not really a true DN, though. And really, as you go through this list, you realize how special Aiden Hutchinson is or was for us. Isaac Ukwu, undrafted rookie free agent. He's making some things happen, but hasn't really played. Made his debut against the Cowboys. James Houston. It's like, oh my gosh. And you'll see the theme as like, if we just kept with what we have. James Houston, 25 years old, like just hasn't gotten any better since he really burst onto the scene. Levi, same thing, not a true DN, right? Just a nice edge setter type of guy. Mitchell Agude, we've talked about him a few times. He's just kind of hanging around. So you can see how we've got some things, but nothing that's just like, okay, we have a Super Bowl contending team, which, by the way, so hard to even be in that conversation. The more that you watch football and what it takes to put a team together and to have all the ingredients. So it's like, I get it, right? We have a literal Super Bowl window. So what do? Number one, you could go out and here are the trade candidates. Do you trade for Max Crosby? Well, the first thing is, well, absolutely you do. But it would take 2 firsts and like one of these guys. 2 firsts and one of these guys. That's just a lot to do. Now, I think he fits our locker room. He's just an absolute animal. But, I mean, look at this. We had one of the best defensive ends, and you see these two side by side. Now, if he were to come back and then you also have Max Crosby, I don't think that's terrible. Hassan Reddick. I think this one's a no. Just because of he doesn't fit our locker room. He's been out. He's been not happy. All those are things that we just aren't interested in. And that's an easy one. I don't think we do him. Okay, Trey Hendrickson, 29 years old. He asked to be traded last April. He makes $14.8 million and then $15 in 2025. He had 17 sacks last year. He's made 3 consecutive Pro Bowls. This one feels a little bit better because the Cincinnati Bengals consider themselves a contender, but they're 2-4. So it's like, oh my gosh. I still think we roll with what we've got. I really do. I just think we do that. But Hendrickson's the one that we got to kind of keep an eye on because it makes the most sense if we are gonna trade for a guy. It's not gonna cost as much as our guy Max Crosby, but you're still going to get some bang for your buck if you do go for him. Now, as we turn back to this game, this is the unfortunate part. Absolute domination. You beat an inferior opponent the way that we all think you should. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh man, we should be scoring every possession. We should be moving the ball down the field. It's not easy to do this. Tom Brady in the booth, though I don't he annoys me, but I was loving him in the booth because Lions were doing great. He was just singing our praises the whole time, but he made it one of his very few comments that he made that was good was like, this is not easy to do. In the National Football League against another opponent, it's really hard to go up and down the field. So you could see how we truly have a running attack that makes us so dangerous, and we can be in every game with the way that we run the ball. Couple other things. Aleem McNeil, man, he looked good. 4 tackles, 2 sacks, QB hits. Our defense looked good, and Aleem McNeil looked really good. Alex Anzalone looks good. Brian Branch, incredible. 2 interceptions and a forced fumble. Just difference maker out there. I'm just going up on all these guys here. Tim Patrick, right? This is where I was fully like, we might have a Super Bowl contending team, is when we'd been looking for this Tim Patrick role for a while, and to see Tim Patrick fill the role was like, that's it. That's what I wanted to see. It's the Josh Reynolds role that, man, Tim Patrick making contested catches, being a big body, throw it up. When in doubt, you've got Sam Laporta, Jameson Williams, St. Brown. What do we do? Just going to throw it up to Tim Patrick. He adjusts and makes the catch. That is so encouraging to see. And then the other one that I liked was Jake Bates. You know, the guy somehow squeezes it in every time, but it doesn't look pretty, but man, he's just quietly kicking field goals, kicking extra points, looks strong. That was good to see as well. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do the Lions trade for somebody, or do they just stand pat? If they do trade for somebody, who do they get? And just where are you at emotionally? It's such a weird thing because the Lions played incredible. Really got to see, like, yes, this is a big-time Super Bowl contending team. And then you see one of our stars go out, and it's like, dang it. That's what we can't have. And I was thinking, man, too bad football is football, because if you just kept everybody healthy and you just went forward, we have by far the best, not by far, but we have the best team, coaching, scheme, but injuries throw a wrench in everything. And then sure enough, I swear to you, I thought that, and then 15 minutes later, our star player is out. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. They did say, by the way, that Aiden Hutchinson, successful surgery. This is a 6-month rehab. Should be good to go. So it's not like an Achilles where you're like, I don't know how you're going to come back, or an ACL. I'm not fully sure. This, oddly enough, because it looked terrible, it's one you can come back from and continue again. So hate to see it, but excited to see what we can do without him. Oddly enough, I'm kind of excited about that, because it's always just kind of cool if you have major injuries, because we're going to get him back next year. So imagine we can do really good things, and it's like, oh yeah, then we're going to add Aiden Hutchinson back in. Are you kidding me? So let me know your thoughts in the comments, and we'll see all of you on the next one.